My name is John Gustafson, President and CEO of the Canadian Marketing Association, and today I'm joined by Peter Aceto, President of ING Direct. Welcome, Peter.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks, John.
Well, thank you. Let's start with a general economic question. Last month, you predicted Canada may very well be heading for a housing bubble similar to the one they had in the United States, and all the dire consequences that entails. What's the basis of your worry, and is there anything we can do about it?
Well, let me put that in a little bit of context for you. I don't actually think we are headed toward a housing bubble, but there are some things that we're seeing that I think are a little bit of concern. I think there's a lot of differences between Canada and the United States. The items, though, that I do see of concern is we're starting to really see some irrational behavior among Canadians in terms of buying real estate. We're hearing story after story of Canadians waiving conditions on purchasing of homes, 3, 4, 5 offers on a particular house, many homes going for 5 to 10% over asking. When you start to see these signs, you start to think whether people are really thinking absolutely clearly about what they're doing. Another sign that I think is really important that we've noticed is Canadians' use of debt has steadily increased. In fact, our use of debt has exceeded that of the United States and the citizens of the UK as well. So when you see these things together, it does give you a little bit of pause for concern.
Very serious indeed, but is there anything we can do about it?
Well, I think the message for Canadians is to behave rationally. In fact, the way that Canadians are known to behave, we do tend to be savers. We do tend to be conservative. We do use our savings, our mortgages as savings vehicles, and I think I would encourage Canadians to continue to do that. Particularly, historically, we're at a very low point for interest rates, and I think most economic people feel some certainty that in 5 years from now, mortgage rates will be higher. So when Canadians are getting a mortgage or buying a home today, I think they should be thinking a little bit about what their mortgage payment might be in 5 years from now.
Well, let's move on to a marketing question. ING is a virtual bank. When a customer can't see, feel, touch the bank, how do you maintain strong customer relations without a retail presence?
It is a challenge that does come up from time to time, but I'll tell you, what's really neat about Canadians? Canadians are really known to be quick adopters of technology. Canadians very quickly adopted ABMs, have felt very comfortable with telephone banking, are very early adopters and significant adopters of use of the internet for all sorts of things, including internet banking. So Canadians as a group of people globally really do get comfortable with doing things in a new way. I think what's really important for ING Direct, and we like our customers get a lot of comfort knowing that they can reach us over the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and our promise about being open and honest and transparent has held true in the last 13 years.
Okay, and certainly you've experienced good growth. Well, let's move to another marketing question. You're heavily involved in social media. In fact, we can follow you yourself on Twitter. But here's the question that all marketers are asking these days. How do you measure ROI on all the social media we're all doing?
That is a question that marketers and other business leaders ask me pretty frequently, and I have a mixed answer for them, so I don't have the holy grail of the answer. Let me begin by saying that I don't know how businesses can afford not to be doing this type of activity. Maybe not today, but certainly tomorrow. People are gathering in communities, they're talking, they're sharing information, and as opposed to doing it in their neighborhood community center, they're doing it online with large amounts of people, absent of any borders. So this is the place where people are thinking about your product. These are the places where people are talking about your brand. And I think it's in certainly ING Direct's best interest to listen to that conversation and be a part of that conversation. And I have an analogy for you. If a marketer were to show up to your community center on Sunday with a whole bunch of people, people wouldn't be interested to hear what they have to say initially. I think that person would have to become a part of the community. They'd have to build trust in their community before there's any chance that people will actually listen to what they have to say. And I think being involved with social media, being a part of that community, and not selling anything will pay dividends in the future.
That's really good advice, Peter. Now, a final question. If there's one last piece of advice you could give to marketers today, what would that be?
Well, the message I think I would leave for marketers is this. One big thing that marketers do is we make promises to people. We make promises to prospective customers, and we make promises to current customers. I think it's very, very vital that marketers, I think we've got some trust that we have to build with consumers again. We need to deliver on our promises. So we need to make sure that what we're selling and what we're promising consumers actually holds true. And the promises that we're making, we actually deliver on day in and day out. Openness, honesty, transparency, so there's no negative surprises, I think are the underlying tenets that marketers should always be thinking about.
That's really good advice, Peter, and thank you very much for joining me today.
A great pleasure, John. Thank you for having me. Thank you.